Hey guys, it's Shane here from Tank Hunter Miniatures, and today we're going to be talking about the next season of your chapter approved missions, the Pariah Nexus. Now, normally I wouldn't be following this kind of news, but it's very important because the whole talk about it coming out was, Battle Line, we're going to get this massive buff. Battle Line, we're going to be, pretty important to win the game now. So it's very much pushing that incentive, which means, is that the end for us with our tank adventures? Are we going to be able to use our tank-only forces to win the games anymore? Is it going to be impossible to sort of catch up with all these sort of missions? Well, I've had a chance to play through it now, really get to understanding how these missions work and everything, the new, way it's formatted. So I can honestly say, I think we're gonna be okay. So let me just open this one. So let's go through the primary missions. So let's have a look at each mission and be able to determine, how's that gonna go for us? If we're bringing nothing but tanks, are we gonna be able to continue these missions and hold well enough? So we start with the Burden of Trust mission. Now this one should be pretty easy to get because you pretty much just have to, just stay on the objective. It's pretty much the counter to sticky objectives. And a lot of forces have that ability now. So yeah, it's sort of a way to just keep people on their objectives instead of just grabbing it, moving on, and ignoring what's behind them. So that's generally pretty good for tanks. You generally want to stay a distance away from the enemy, so you're going to be camping on objectives anyway. So Burden of Trust, that one's fine. We should be able to have an easy job with that one. Now Linchpin, same deal as well with that one, because you're going to be staying on your home objective because, put something long range you can just keep there, or something like an artillery tank, and just keep them there to make sure you're scoring the 5 VP for everywhere else. Purge the Foe. Yeah, this is an easy one. This is just pretty much just kill points. So that's easy, and just, controlling the objective marker. No real bonus there that can't be gathered by pretty much any type of unit. The Ritual, this one you might have some issues with just because you have to perform an action, and the thing with actions is you're giving up your shooting. Now the benefit to doing actions with tanks is generally they're faster, so they don't need to generally assault, because they remove that. You can't advance and still be able to perform an action even if you had assault. That's gone. So having something that's fast and big and just can go out, put down an objective, it's going to be good. But again, you're giving up your shooting and you have limited number of models, so giving up around his shooting can be pretty detrimental to you. But just keep in mind, you don't have to sit on the objectives you put down yourself. You can just take your opponent's ones. So this can be good. You don't need to worry so much about making it yourself. Just let your opponent do it and then just come take it from him. So there's always workarounds with a mission like this one. Now Scorched Earth, again, it's an action, but the thing with this one is you don't have to really perform the action. If you're just holding the objective, you only do it at the last minute. You don't really need to incentivize burning the objectives. You can just hold them. So it very much depends how the game is going. It doesn't necessarily instantly make you lose the game. So Scorched Earth, that's, it's trickier, but it's doable. Now the supply drop, that guy's going to be pretty easy because all you have to do is just pretty much spearhead your army, just keep them all sorted together and just direct them to the objective point that is going to be prioritized. So just always be focusing one direction, because it's going to come down to one point of the battle just being more important than the other. So if you're able to secure that, you're all good. You don't need to worry too much. Now Terraform, again, that can be, it's an action, so giving up shooting, not ideal, but again with the last one, you can just take a terraformed objective marker that's already been done. You don't have to actually do it to control it, because it's just if it's been terraformed. and your opponent or you terraforms the objective marker, it's already done. You don't need to do it again. There's nowhere that says you have to terraform it to make it more worth. So yeah, you can just wait for someone to do it and then come take it and you get the points. So you can work with that. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be giving up shooting. You can work it to your favor. Now the unexploded ordnance, this is going to be the trickiest one. This is sort of like your old relic mission where you've got to grab an objective and you got to pull it towards your opponent's deployment zone. You got to push these bombs in to blow them up. It's fun. It's a really cool one. You're playing basically gridiron. You're pushing forward into the enemy's deployment zone. That's going to be tricky. I'm not sure exactly how you're going to do that one. I think a lot of people are going to struggle with this one though. I think it's going to be really good for horde armies because you just rush something in, they throw it forward the 6 inches, then they're shot, and then they send in the next wave to push it again, and they just keep sending wave and wave to keep pushing it a little further while you're stuck back just trying to hold them back. So this is probably going to be the hardest one, but that's pretty good. Out of all the objectives, all the missions, you got one that's bad, a couple that are sort of not great, and then you got like 5 that are fine. So the mission itself isn't an issue. You're not going to have problems with that if you bring something that's either all tanks or all elite, like a very Terminator sort of build, something big, blob, armies. You shouldn't have a problem with it if you're not taking battle line. Now as for mission rules, this is where they're sort of really putting the focus on battle line, because you get some extra stuff for your battle line units. So inspired leadership, that's not that great. That's good to have, but it shouldn't change much to the entire of the game. Prepare positions, that's a free strat. Okay, I'm not gonna miss that. Raise banners. Now, of course, this is the one they had highlighted, but the more you look into it, it's because, of course, it's per objective marker. And an objective marker game generally is 5 objectives, so the most you can get is 5 VP, but what you're more likely going to see is maybe 2 or 3 that really get used. So yeah, if you got battle line, you'll get a couple extra victory points. It's not that big a deal. Now the Star Wars, this is a really good one, because of course you can shoot and still perform the action. So they're the only ones that can do it. That's really good. That really helps battle line armies, and really depending on what the unit is, depends how useful that is. Because if it's a battle line unit that was going to be melee focused anyway, it's not that big a deal. Or if it's something like a Sisters of Battle squad that only has bolters in it, that's okay, but it's not going to change the game. But it's handy to have. It's nice to have. Same with the swift action. You can advance, fall back, and still perform the action, just like you sort of used to be able to. That's really going to make a difference. That can come in really clutch. So yeah, that's one real advantage bringing a lot of battle line stuff is going to have. Adapt or die, well that just helps everyone. You can just switch out your missions. That's really good. Smoke and mirrors. That really depends on what army you're going against. If you weren't planning on putting anything into reserves at all, then it's kind of pointless. So yeah, very situational. Smoke and mirrors. Hidden supplies, yeah, extra objective marker. Yep, that helps everyone. Fog of war, again, that helps everyone. You're having your tanks have the extra cover without needing to get into terrain. They can just be out in the open and they have cover. That's great for tanks, actually. So yeah, that really helps. And rapid escalation, so we got another battle line only one. And again, really depends on what you're bringing, because of course 10%, if you're bringing 1500 points, it's only 150. So yeah, that's like one squad. You can sort of just move in. And depending on the army, they might not be supported. They might go down pretty fast. So rapid escalation, I can see it working maybe for like Dark Eldar. Like give them an extra fast boost. Maybe like Leagues of Votan, it would help. Gene Stealers. So it's very dependent. You'd need like a fast army to go with this to really be useful. So that's all the mission rules. And you can see Battle Line, it's definitely buffed depending the mission, but it's really not every mission. It's about a third of them. And yeah, they're not all the same, so I don't see it being game changing, like game winning, ensuring you have Battle Line. Like, I don't see it as being that dependent. I think you can still do fine without bringing a lot of Battle Line. Now we'll just scroll down. Now, the biggest problem you're going to get is, of course, the secret missions. And the secret missions might actually be a good thing as well, if you're playing tanks. Because, yeah, if you've got something, you're playing against someone that does do a lot of, fast movement, quickly grabs an advantage. By third turn, depending what they are, you can just get your 20 VPs for free. You could sort of put yourself in a position where you are just slightly the underdog and give yourself that victory. Because I was going to say, the War of Attrition, if you're playing one of my armies with it's just tanks, your opponent, if they're losing at turn 3, they're instantly getting 20 VP. That's not an if or but. They just get the extra victory points. So that is a bit concerning. We just played a game of that, just testing it out, me and Josh, where I didn't have any battle line, and yeah, that definitely evened up the game quite a lot. I still managed to just get the victory, but it was a very close game overall, so it's definitely good. But depending on what else is going on, you might have this work in your favor. So command insertion, that's going to be tricky, especially if you're bringing nothing but tanks. That's going to be tricky, yeah. So I think for most armies that's going to be hard. In fact, it's going to be rare that's going to be a thing. Shadow Cohesion. This is an interesting one that I don't see. Like, it's definitely doable, but it's sort of like, why are you in a position that you're the underdog if you're able to dominate? Well, I guess it could be, you're evenly trading, and it just so happens, yeah, you can just do this. So even if you have very few as well, they have none, and yeah, just pulls you that bit forward. The unbroken wall one. Again, if you're controlling all these objective markers, why do you need the extra victory points? I'm having trouble sort of figuring that one out. Like I said, it could be something where, that was their plan to just get up first. Like I said, something like Dark Eldar, where they come, they grab, but then they don't stick around. This can sort of help you in the late game to, sort of build it up. So I could see that being sort of useful if you're slow, but you're not taking much attrition. But yeah, I see the War of Attrition one. That's probably going to be used the most, because depending what army someone has, like if they're bringing Space Marines, they just have like a few intercessor squads, and you just target them, you just bring them down. Because what you're going to want to do with your battle line is, as you can see, if they get one of the buffs where they can move forward, grab objectives, raise banners, they're going to be on the front lines. Battle line units are going to want to be in the action, doing stuff, being useful, so that they're always going to be a target. So I see War of Attrition always being usable for both sides. So I wouldn't count yourself out, even if you don't have any battle lines and the other person does, because if they get that advantage, you're able to get rid of them, you've got 20 victory points. So it very much plays into, what your opponent's bringing, and what you can do. Now, as for the secondaries, so it really goes into a question of what's going to be good for us. Do we go tactical or do we go fixed? Now, there's a trouble with bringing fixed. I don't see fixed as being that great an option. So, if you look at the fixed missions, assassination, it's very rare you're going to have this many characters that you can be taking out, sort of one every turn and being, really useful. Like maybe if it's Space Marines, if it's Orcs, if it's Sisters of Battle, yeah, you're going to want to look characters. But if you're bringing to fight against like an elite force or a heavy force like mine, you're going to have like one character. If you're bringing a knight, if you're going up against knights, yeah, it's one character. So it very much depends on the army. These three very much depend the army you're playing against. Because again, bring it down. If they don't have any monsters or vehicles, you can't use that. So, cull the horde. This one is very hard. Because there isn't much infantry that is 20 plus. You'd be looking at Nids, some demons, Chaos Cultists, the Gene Stealer ones. Is about half the armies have sort of these infantry, but they wouldn't have many unless they're going really full horde. It'd be tricky to get the whole 5 every turn. So yeah, the cull the horde, it's good, but I don't see it being that reliable. So these three here, these are the very much dependent on what your opponent's bringing one. Now we got the 3 action ones. And again, for us bringing nothing but tanks, we're not going to want to take these. Because they're not that much. They're 2 victory points, 4 victory. If you've got a lot of models, yeah, you may as well take the cleanse, the locust, the recover. Because it's just, it's good if they're just standing around. But we've got to be shooting every turn to really make use of our tanks. So we're not going to pick any of these. It's not a good idea. So the other ones are your 3 positioning ones, where you go behind enemy lines. That's going to be tricky. That really depends on what map zone you're on. Because if you're on far ends, then you can forget about this one. You really can. If you're an engage on all fronts, that one can be pretty good. I generally get this one pretty easily. Because unlike, doing an action, you can advance and get this. You got to split up your forces a bit, but just bring your really heavier stuff, guys that can survive on their own. Put them out on the sides and just bring everything else up the middle. Engage on all fronts should be pretty doable. Storm hostile, that one should be okay as well. Because essentially that's the goal of the game anyway. That's what you want to be doing. Taking more objectives, taking from your opponent. So that's what you want to be doing. If you're not storming hostile objectives, you're not really playing the game. So that's very much a given. So, like I said, the 2 here, engage and storm hostiles, they're good because, and especially you've got an army like I was saying in the Chaos Marines Codex. A lot of armies now give assault to everything. So if you've got a tank army that can assault, you're super fast and you're still just as shooty. So they can be incredibly good now. So yeah, you've got a few there. Really depends on what your opponent's bringing. 3, I would not bring at all. And a couple depending on what the maps are. And overall good. So you can make it work, but when you're looking at tactical, there's so many good ones. Because area denial, yep, doable. Extend battle lines, yep, again, that's what you want to be doing in the game anyway. No man's land, yep, get in, get out. Defend stronghold, yep, easy done. No prisoners, yeah, you want to be destroying your enemy, that's good. Overwhelming force. Definitely, because of course they're going to be wanting to get the objective marker. Of course they're going to be. So they're there. They're not going to shy away from being on it. So you should be able to overwhelming force something pretty easy. Marked for Death is a crazy one, because of course they select 3 of the units. You've only got to destroy 1 for the 5 points. So that is really good. Marked for Death, it should be doable for you guys. The only ones you don't really want to have, of course, is your 2 action ones, Sabotage and Containment. So, yeah, like I said, action objectives are going to be the biggest problem with your heavy and elite focused armies. But if you're going tactical, there isn't that big a chance. The other advantage of this is now to redraw the objective is no longer capped at once per game. You can just keep doing that. So you've got a good chance of, cycling these cards, and you'll get a good result. It's unlikely you'll have to stick to doing an action, and there might be some cases where you can't be firing and you might be able to take advantage of it. It's just the trouble is a lot of them, you have to do 2 things. Like recover assets is 2 or more units need to be not firing. So that's really hurts your army. So you want to avoid them. But I don't think fixed is the way to go. I think tactical is still going to be the better way. So with all this in mind, looking at the new objectives, the new way to play, it shouldn't change too much. I don't see sort of battle line only armies getting this big advantage over your elite and your heavy builds. I don't think, they definitely got the buff. It's definitely good, but I don't think it's gonna be the be all end all. I don't think this is the last we're gonna see of the armies we've been bringing. It's just gonna make things more interesting. Like I said, we had a lot of fun, me and Josh, playing through this, so I can see a lot more fun being played with these missions. I think this is a great improvement to the game. I think it really helps both sides, no matter what you're doing. So yeah, I cannot wait for more of this. I'm really impressed. There's no need to just throw out your tank armies just yet. They're still going to be good, so don't worry. They're keeping the status quo. They're just making things better. And in the end of the day, that's what we all want. We want the game to be more fun, more enjoyable, and still be able to do the things we like to do. So that's it for this one. I hope you learned something, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.